in a crude laboratory in the basement of his home.
Hi and welcome back, and the topic of today's video is Turkish get-ups, and maybe just kettlebells in general. So when it comes to kettlebells, the main thing for me is, as far as an investment goes, that's more than paid for itself if I have to compare it to, say, a gym membership or something like that. I don't need that much space, and it's quite convenient. And all of this allows me to remain consistent. So you will see that in lots of instructional videos. It's all about consistency. But I understand it. Kettlebells isn't for everyone. And I remember many years ago, I went to my first kettlebell class, and it was dull as fuck. The main thing I remember, and I think he was doing a instruction on doing Turkish get-ups, and he gave me a 16 kilo, and this little voice in my head starts going, "But sir, I am not a lady." The inside voice. To be honest, I just fucking forgot about it. And it was many years later. It's almost as if something clicks. Something falls into place. I don't know if it's just a mindset or what it is. So I'm going to go through a Turkish get-up. There are literally hundreds of videos of Turkish get-ups. But I'd like to maybe just go through what I've learned and my struggles and the bits that I've picked up along the way in maybe a shortened time frame. So I'm going to take quite a few years of exploration and try and condense it. So let's give it a go. Let's show the first piece, which was never really taught in that one class I went to, is when you're holding the kettlebell, making sure that is at 45 degrees. That is going to solve a lot of issues for you, because it's going to make your rack position a lot easier. And from there, it's just a natural progression for everything else. And this forearm to knuckle, you're going to keep that straight. No weird bendy bits. I can't. So let's start off. On your side, you're going to grab it, use your body to roll it over. And you're going to press. And then in the beginning, you'll try and do, like, you're going to try and bully your way up. And yeah, the weight might be quite light, so you'll be able to do it. And then you'll start realizing pretty soon, as soon as you start moving up in weight, it's a roll. So you're going to roll up onto your elbow. And over here, I like to do sort of like a half side bridge. Most people normally just keep it over there and then move back. I prefer to keep it, go for a little half side bridge. It's just a little bit extra. And then we'll keep practicing that. Let's show what it looks like on the other side. So this was the next issue I ran into, is this awkward little dead space when you have to change the kettlebell from one side to the next. I like to do things more continuous, but I'll get back to that. And then let's just show that roll. So this arm, 45 degrees, press. So instead of trying to push your way up, you're just going to roll onto the shoulder and up. My little side bridge. Take it back down from there. So, like I mentioned, that little dead space, I didn't like that. So that's where the reverse Turkish get-up came in. So I'm over here. Now, this was another issue I ran into, is this low bloody ceiling. So I ended up having to do this weird bent knee thing, pressing it up, and it was just awkward. So as part of the progression, what was an initial frustration, I ended up learning another exercise. Half kneeling, shoulder press. And if you're paying attention, this opposite leg, you'll feel a lovely stretch in there. Anyway, so that was me sorted with this low ceiling. And I carried on exploring. But then I realized, well, I wanted to work my legs a bit more. You can do the reverse lunge. You can do it again. And then you can do the shoulder press. That's quite heavy. And that's when I discovered my next exercise. The half kneeling side press. So in there. And that sorted out the issue of getting a heavier weight above my head, so I can use a heavier weight to work my legs more. Extra bits that you end up learning, transitions. So if you've started off with double kettle arm swings, you'd end up doing single ones like that. And then you start learning transitions, changing from one hand to the other. So another thing you're going to start learning as you carry on with the Turkish get-ups is the distinct phases. So I'm just going to demonstrate that with the reverse one again. So you're going to see the distinct phases from holding it over there. So you've got the reverse lunge, and then you're thinking, well, maybe I could just do a few more of those, and then I'm going to work the legs a bit more. So you maybe decide you'll go for 2 of those. Then you've got the half kneeling shoulder press, and then you think, well, maybe I can do them twice. There's the getting down onto the floor. And you think, well, maybe I could just do that twice. Oh, well, I think you're getting the point. So depending on what you want to do, say now one day you're going to do more of those presses. So you've come up and decide maybe I just want to get up again, there. Then you can be back here. Then you're going to maybe do 1, 2, and then you're going to stand up. And then a lot more options open up for you. Maybe you go a little bit heavier. And then you start using the transition. And you start working maybe on your cleans. And you say, now I'm changing hands. There. Then you decide, well, maybe I could just do another clean. Before I do the reverse lunge, maybe do another one. Back again. That is as far as what I got on the Turkish get-up. And yeah, you'll see. You start playing around with it. You start learning new stuff. It starts to feel more like play rather than exercise. Which I think is probably the important part that we're missing with all of this. You need to play a bit more. It just doesn't seem to happen as you get older. I think I'm going to leave it there for the kettlebells and the Turkish get-up. I think I've proved the point. What starts off as a simple exercise develops into something else, and then it follows on to something else, and I've barely even scratched the surface. So, if you enjoyed that, please press all the buttons, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers!